Willow's story. Making a complaint.
So my name's Willow, and my pronouns are she, her.
What was the complaint about?
When I was at uni, probably in my last year, I was having a bit of a rough time and I wanted to study online, especially it had been after lockdowns and stuff where we'd already studied online, so they had the hybrid option, but they said no, that option is only for people who their immune systems are compromised and are at risk from COVID-19, and it's not for anyone else. Even when I said, well, it's because of my disabilities, I've got disability support at the uni, I provided all these reasons and some evidence, they were like, no, that's not allowed, that's not what it's for. And so that was when I complained.
Why did you make the complaint?
Because I just felt like it was really unfair, especially given that they had the hybrid option available where I could have just sat on Zoom and watched the class happen and participated. It just felt very unreasonable that they were saying no. Like, I couldn't see any good reason. I was told a lot of the time, well, by my teachers and things like that, well, it's not as good of a learning experience, and you really should be coming to class in person because it's better for your learning. And it's like, yeah, but not being there at all is not that great for my learning. Not being able to participate at all is not doing me any favours. So really participating online is as good as it gets for me. And I don't think they really understood that. They sort of felt that I was making a choice, whereas I didn't actually really have much of a choice at the time. And I also I wanted to educate them as well. I didn't feel like their understanding of disability, and especially the less visible, less physical disabilities, were less understood by them.
How did you feel when you made the complaint?
I was worried that maybe I was making a big deal over something that I didn't really have the right to be doing. I wasn't quite sure if this was actually quite an unfair situation, or if I was just sort of exaggerating and I should have just toughened up and gone to uni in person.
Who supported you during the complaints process?
So I spoke to my family about it, especially my parents, and they were very supportive and were encouraging me, you need to follow this up because it's not fair that they're saying no. And I also spoke to my speech pathologist at that time as well, who I have a very good relationship with and I've seen for a long time. And she was really helpful as well, and sort of trying to get across to me no, this is actually a very unfair situation, and it's actually kind of discrimination that they're kind of preventing you from getting the access that you need to your education. And so her perspectives on it were very useful at the time for making me understand that I wasn't just exaggerating and making a big deal out of nothing.
How did you feel after making the complaint?
I felt very worried, because I was worried about what kind of reaction I would get from them. I really didn't want them to reply in an angry or negative way, but I also felt good that I'd done it. I felt like I'd done something to deal with the issue, and that I'd done the right thing for myself and for hopefully others as well by complaining about it.
What do you wish you knew before you made your complaint?
I really kind of felt alone in this situation. Not that I didn't have, support of my family and health professionals, but just alone in the fact that I felt like sort of the only one who would have experienced this problem. Looking back, I felt like it was a situation that only I would have gotten into, and something that only I would be experiencing. And it would have been really cool at the time to have heard from online or something like that, other young disabled people saying, oh yeah, I've had similar experiences where I haven't been able to access something, or in education this has been difficult for me, so that I didn't just feel like I was the only person ever who'd had this problem. Yeah, it would have been really useful for me to know, and would have boosted my own confidence in handling the situation.
What was the outcome of your complaint?
Their response to my complaint was, sorry, it's not really a valid complaint. So that essentially meant I couldn't study online, which was not very helpful. In a weird twist of circumstances, I had a family member who happens to be immunocompromised. So I was living in the same house with them. They didn't need me to be staying home from uni because of that. You know, it wasn't that sort of situation. But they were like, look, I'll go to my doctor. I'll get a note from them saying, Willow needs to stay home from uni because of this. And so my family member went to their doctor. Their doctor thought it was totally ridiculous, the whole thing, and wrote up a very nice and supportive letter, which was kind of them. And the uni accepted that as evidence that allowed me to study in the hybrid classes. So I ended up getting what I wanted, but not fully what I wanted, because my reasons for needing to do it based on my disability weren't good enough for them.